Well, lads, how's it going? Welcome back to the Faithful Podcast channel. We're here to be discussing Offaly's latest games in the National Hurling and Football Leagues, as well as look back for the ladies' football team as well, who had a big win over Kilkenny on Sunday as well in Ferban to pick up their second win of the campaign. Obviously, a quick reflection on the two games that I was at. Great to be at the games, I suppose. It's nice to be going to these games at this time of the year. Disappointing results, but look, it's nice to be at these games at the same time. And I'll be at plenty more games over the next couple of weeks. I'll be in Walsh Park this Sunday for the clash against Waterford in the hurling. I'll be at the game against Cork in 2 weeks' time, and I'll be up in Derry in a couple of weeks' time and up in Tyrone for the football games as well. So stick around for all those over the next couple of weeks. I suppose, first of all, before we get into the men's side of things, I want to give a big shout out and send a massive congratulations to the Offaly ladies football team, who had a big win over Kilkenny on Sunday in Ferban, winning by 5 goals and 19 points to 2 points. You had Caoimhe Lynham finishing the game with 4 points, Tara Tyrrell getting a goal and a point, Una O'Brien getting 3 points, Sarah Fitzgerald getting 2 goals, Eve Kelly getting 2-4. So yeah, a fantastic performance from them as well as the rest of the panel. Some people would say it's only Kilkenny, but guess what? They're in this division and they have to make the most of what they have to play in front of them, and you have to go out there at the end of the day and just beat what's in front of you. And that's exactly what Offaly have done. They've got 2 wins out of 3 now, on top of the win they got on the opening weekend against Wicklow. Tough defeat against Leitrim last weekend, but they were facing a Leitrim side who were playing senior football last year, so I think you got to put a bit of perspective into that as well. So yeah, plenty of positives from the Offaly ladies footballers at the moment. Plenty more positives than last year anyways, that's for sure. And absolutely fantastic to see them picking up 2 wins out of 3, and we wish them the very best of luck for the remainder of the campaign as well. It's great to see Offaly back winning football matches in the Ladies Football League. I suppose the first game we're going to be looking back on is the game that I was at on Saturday evening in Connaughts Park. Kildare 317, Offaly 17 points. A result that probably flatters Offaly, to be honest with you. It wasn't the best performance, if I'm going to be honest with you. We did struggle a lot in this game, particularly under kickouts. Kildare were very dominant in the midfield, I felt, especially with the kickouts in the first half. I think there was one stage when Offaly had only won 4 out of 17 total kickouts, which is a disappointing stat that they won't be too happy with looking back on the game from Saturday evening. The full back line, I felt, was in bother a lot of the time, especially with the fact that Alex Byrne was moved in there and he was causing us all sorts of bother. Brian McLaughlin at wing forward was unbelievable. Lokman was also having a fantastic game at corner forward. So there was a lot of problems that Kildare's forward line were really causing us, to be honest with you. And I felt even our lads out the field as well were kind of struggling as well to keep up with them. They were struggling to get good ball into the full forward line. And some people would say the full forward line didn't play well, but a lot of the time they were kind of feeding off scraps as well. The ball that was played into them, usually very, very good and right in front of them and played at perfect pace, etc. It just wasn't there on Saturday evening, unfortunately. I felt the only kind of player that kind of came out of it with who played really, really well, I felt, was Keith O'Neill, to be honest with you. He was a threat throughout the entire game, put up some brilliant scores in the first half, great scores in the second half as well. We got it down to, I think, 2 or 3 points at one stage, but Kildare really kicked into another gear, final 15-20 minutes of the game as well. In fairness to Jordan Hayes, I thought, he tried hard, he tried fierce hard, especially in the second half, but he's not a centre-back. We have a lot of injuries at the moment, the likes of John Furlong, Cathal Flynn, Dylan Hyland, Paddy Dunnigan, just to name a few off the bat at the moment, so we're having to deal with a lot of injury problems at the moment. So Jordan Hayes is having to fill in there at centre back, which is unfortunate for him because I think he's a real dynamite in midfield. And he could have been very useful for him as well to be in that midfield, trying to win high ball as well and even stop the threat of Kildare winning breaking balls as well. But yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't to be on the day. I felt we were in a bit of bother in the full back line at times as well, trying to maybe work the ball out from the back when we probably didn't need to, or they were kind of running at us at such pace and we weren't able to deal with that, which was sort of unfortunate. I felt Harry Plunkett and Nathan Boland, to be fair, the two of them came on, they kicked 7 points between them when they came on. I feel like they're two names that might be thrown into the hat for starting places in 2 weeks' time against Cork, and coming up against a Cork side as well, who picked off a big win against Louth as well, 117-112 up in Drogheda yesterday. So it's going to be a very, very tough test in 2 weeks' time against Cleary's side. So it's going to be tough. But listen, I still am going to back these lads and I'm still going to have faith in them. They have a lot of injuries at the moment and they're playing at a huge level in Division 2. It was impressive for them to even get promoted from Division 3 last year, but we have a lot of great games to look forward to over the next number of weeks. And listen, I'm going to keep supporting these lads. I'm going to be in Derry in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be in Tyrone in a couple of weeks' time. I'll be in Tullamore in 2 weeks to watch them against Cork. So I'm going to keep backing them until the end and see how far we can go. We can maybe still secure ourselves a place in Division 2 for next year, still secure safety in the division, but it is going to make it very, very tough over the next number of weeks with the games that we do have coming up. But yeah, look, overall, I felt we probably got fortunate that the game wasn't more out of sight, to be honest with you. Kildare did kick a lot of wides. They missed a lot of opportunities that on another day they don't. So look, 3-17 in the end probably flatters us to a small bit of a degree, and I don't think it was probably as good a performance as maybe the Louth one. Look, I wasn't at the Louth game, I can't judge it. I was down in the match in Kilkenny during watching the hurlers, but from what I heard, obviously the first half was a positive one against Louth, whereas this one wasn't really a positive first half. I think we struggled a lot, but look, the lads are trying, and I know that they will be hurting obviously after that defeat, but the most important thing now is just to move on and head to Cork in 2 weeks' time with a positive mindset and try and get ourselves 2 points there, which isn't going to be simple, but I suppose we move on with the footballers anyways. But yeah, tough evening at the office in Collins Park. Now moving on to the hurlers yesterday. Very different story, I suppose, coming up against the All-Ireland champions at the end of the day, coming up against the best side in the country. Liam Cahill with his team coming to Tullamore, putting up a 524 to 118 victory over the faithful county. Yeah, from the start, you could kind of tell Tipperary were in the ascendancy. They were playing lads that, obviously a couple of new fresh faces as well. Leamy at corner forward was one that really stood out, had a really, really positive game. But it was the old guard, as we like to call them, Jason Ford, who came up with the goods, scoring 310 over us, and he was just absolutely unbelievable from start to finish. His free taking is immaculate, his movement is unbelievable, and just his striking is absolutely majestic to watch, to be honest with you. Brian O'Mara as well, who I chatted to after the game, was really, really positive throughout this game as well. He was superb at fullback, having to deal with a big threat like Kieran Cleary and Oisin Kelly and the likes of Brian Dignan and all them in the full forward line, and he did so really, really well over the course of the 70 minutes. I've been impressed with this guy over the last number of years, both from a UL perspective and a Tipperary one. He's a player that can play wing back, centre back, full back. He could play all sorts of different positions, and I thought he was absolutely fantastic yesterday. Dara Stakelum coming off the bench, putting in a huge performance. Willie Connors in the middle of the park, John McGrath, Noel McGrath, like they're bringing on these types of players, and they're a top class side. Like they're going to be fully going for another All Ireland this year, maybe even looking to win another Munster title as well. Which, when I do think of it now, it's actually mental to think that Tipperary haven't won a Munster title since 2016. But you got to put it into perspective. Limerick did absolutely dominate Munster over the last number of years. Cork have obviously won since Tipperary won their last Munster title. Cork have won 3 Munster titles as well. So I've absolutely no doubt in my mind that, similar enough maybe to Armagh up in Ulster, that Tipperary will want to end that run of not winning a Munster title. I'd say that's firmly on Liam Cahill's mind over the next couple of months. But yeah, fair play to Tipperary. They're unbelievable, and yeah, they're going to Cork next weekend with the full ambition of going down there and beating them. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that game turns out. But from an Offaly perspective, yeah, look, it was a tough afternoon. It really was. I think in the first half, to be only 5 points down was really good going, and I thought we did play some nice hurling at times. I felt we had some good performance. I thought Brecon Kavanagh was doing well at wing back. Cleary, in fairness to him, he was in there for one job and to cause hassle and to cause a ruckus. At times I felt he was getting pulled a bit and maybe wasn't getting the advantage from the referee that maybe we'd have hoped. But yeah, I thought he was causing some bit of bother in there, to be fair to him. I felt Owen Cahill was growing into the game in the first half as time was going on. He was getting himself into good positions. The substitution of Luke Watkins was a strange one. I don't really know why he was taken off. That was a bit of a strange one. Cathal King came on in his place, and I thought Cahill did well, to be fair to him. He's always assured in that midfield position. I felt it was a bit harsh to throw Rory Kelly in from the start. I will admit that. He's only just back from injury as well. I know we have a load of injuries at the moment. I mean, Jesus Christ, you have Killian Sampson out, Kieran Burke, Charlie Mitchell, James Mahan, these types of players. Donald Shirley got injured last weekend down in Kilkenny, so you're nearly down to the bare bones at the moment with what you can pick and what you can select. But I felt it was a bit unfair to maybe throw Rory Kelly in. And to be fair to Kelly, I don't think he was even that bad, to be fair to him. He tried his hardest and he was winning 1 or 2 tackles as well. But throwing him on Jason Ford, his first game back, Jesus, I mean, that's the toughest task as you can ask of anybody, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's good to have him back anyways and playing a bit of hurling as well. I thought Ben Keneally, to be fair to him, put in a good performance as well over the course of the match. He did look to have a bit of a niggle coming off towards the end. Hopefully that's nothing too serious either, because the last thing we need is another injury, and especially for a player of Keneally's calibre anyways. In fairness to Liam Hoare, he pulled off 2 unbelievable long-range frees in the first half as well. And so yeah, they were unbelievable points that Liam Hoare pulled out of the bag. And I will admit, to be fair, look, we did have Dan Burke and Adam Screeney on the bench. They both came on and looked very lively. Particularly Dan Burke got 3 points, very, very good points as well. And they're the type of players that belong to this kind of level playing in Division 1A, to be honest with you. Turgainen was brought back on, obviously just back from injury as well, so it's good to get him back playing 35 minutes as well, and I thought he looked sharp in periods as well. But yeah, look, obviously those types of lads are playing Fitzgibbon during the week, and obviously if UL taking on NUIG during on Wednesday evening, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Going to be a cracking game, and hopefully we'll see some of them featuring in the Fitzgibbon Cup final in Croke Park next Friday evening. But yeah, look, a tough day at the office. But listen, I'm going to be down in Waterford at the weekend. I'm going to keep supporting these lads. And look, they're trying to do the right things. It was always going to be difficult for us to stay up in Division 1A. and we're probably not going to stay up in Division 1A if we're being honest about it. But these lads are still, our county men, and they're still representing us, and they deserve our support in good times and bad times. And look, I'll be down in Waterford the weekend against a Waterford team. Obviously, they've just beaten Limerick, so it's going to be a very tricky task to say the least. But listen, I'm going to go down there to support these lads, and hopefully we might put in another good performance maybe, and see where we're at after that anyways. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much a wrap up anyways of looking back on the weekend's action for both the National Hurling, Football and Lgfa League campaign games. Thanks very much for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe to the Faithful Podcast channel. Be sure to subscribe to Cooley Media and follow me on all my socials as well. And until then, I'll be chatting to you again over the course of the next couple of days. Until then, chat to you soon.